It's great to have you here, Mr. Jones.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so
call me Ricky, please.
All right, I will.
All right. We're cool now.
We're all good. We had some coffee in the green room. Everybody's good. Talk about the book, which is What's Wrong with Obama Mania, Black America, Black Leadership, and the Death of Political Imagination, which is going to be in stores June 15th. So we're getting a very big sneak preview here.
Yeah.
Okay.
First interview on it.
Talk about the book.
First of all, it's not a biography.
Okay.
It's not an endorsement of Obama, and it doesn't throw him under the bus. And I want to, no pun intended with the talk.
Right, exactly.
But, and I want folks to understand, come November, everybody who knows me in the city, please understand that I'll probably vote for Obama if he secures the Democratic nomination, just because his politics are closer to mine than any Republican.
Right.
But I think there are basically three things wrong. With the incredible emotion surrounding Obama mania, people either turn the man into a celebrity or a savior, or they turn him into a charlatan. I don't think that's very good. I think that dichotomizes the argument too much, and therefore you're not able to look at the nuances of Obama.
Sure.
Put him in context. That's two. We're not able to put Obama in proper context of American history and Black American leadership in particular, and political leadership in America in general. And lastly, specific to the race, Black people still have incredible problems in this country, from disproportionate incarceration to recidivism to poverty to undereducation. And some folks believe that a successful Obama candidacy in effect means the end of racial structural dichotomies. I don't think that's necessarily true. And so in many ways, his candidacy can exacerbate some problems rather than solve them. And so that's what the book talks about, and I think it opens the door for some more conversation that people aren't having right now.
You know, a lot of people, beyond the issue of race in this election, people are talking about women and the vote as well. And as a matter of fact, we have a phone call from Bullitt County. Ellen, are you there?
Yeah.
Ellen, go ahead and ask a question.
Well, I do have a question. Women, whether white or black, we were the last ones to have the right to vote. And I don't see where this should be a race issue. But, you all have not even so much as addressed that one, that we are still second-class citizens. We fought for our rights.
Right.
But we did it in private, and we did it behind closed doors.
Well, to be fair, we've been on the air for about 2 minutes. And we'll give let's give Ricky an opportunity to talk about that.
Well, there's a strange historical American fact that a lot of people don't know. Black males were given the right to vote in 1870 with the passage of the 15th Amendment. Women, black and white, were not given the right to vote until 50 years later. But I disagree with her in saying that women have fought for their rights to vote and for an equitable society in private. Women have been on the front lines.
Right.
So, but this is the problem with Obama mania too, I think. And not just Obama mania, but American political engagement. We tend to look at problems as either or, when they're really both and some more. So we still have problems of race, have problems of class, have problems of gender, have problems of religious choice, sexual orientation, all of these things. So I don't think that I'm necessarily saying that we don't speak to problems of gender if I say we still have to speak to problems of race and class. A lot of those things are interlocked.
Yeah, and excuse the pun, but it really isn't black and white. It's a lot of it together.
Very great.
As a matter of fact, all of this happening, interestingly enough, on the 40th anniversary of the death of Martin Luther King Jr. James is on the phone. You have a question, James? James, are you there? Okay.
I must have answered his question.
Yeah, you must
already.
have. Okay, talk about. Oh, James, go ahead.
Okay, yes. You were just talking about Martin Luther King, and I was going to ask a question is, do you feel that when they compare Obama to Martin Luther King, that is a disgrace to Martin Luther King's heritage after all that he had to go through and dying for his beliefs? And and comparing Obama to him, do you think that's kind of disgracing maybe his image?
Interesting question, James.
I wouldn't go so far as to say that it's a disgrace, but I would say it's a false comparison. Their politics are very, very different. King confronted issues of race, issues of class, issues of empire head on. Obama doesn't do that.
Right.
A lot of people are giving him a lot of kudos, and rightfully so, for the race speech he gave in Philadelphia a few weeks ago.
Right.
But he was forced to do that. I mean,
Absolutely,
he was forced because of the Jeremiah Wright controversy. Right. By and large, Obama avoids addressing controversial issues, and he certainly avoids addressing racial issues. But I think it's the legacy of King who was incredibly bold, incredibly courageous, that gives Obama the opportunity to avoid these issues now. So the comparison, I think they're very, very different ideological beings.
Ricky, we're going to talk more. We're going to hold you over for another segment. Your phone calls, if you have them, 502-240-6527. More with the professor right after this. You're watching the CW Louisville live this morning. Welcome back to the CW Louisville Live this morning, a spirited discussion, as we should probably have more of them, about race relations in the country. And we've got U of L professor Ricky Jones back with us again. Thanks for being back with us.
Again, all right, thank you for inviting me.
And your book, What's Wrong with Obama Mania? Black America, Black Leadership, and the Death of Political Imagination, in stores June 15th. And a very eye-catching cover, by the way.
I didn't choose it, but you know.
So with the race heating up here in Kentucky and in Indiana, I see a lot in the blogosphere, if you will, of how race is going to play more of a key role in these battleground states as we're getting close to nominating a Democratic candidate here. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I think race is still real.
Right.
And a lot of people want to deny that race is real. In fact, I think some white support of Obama is because of race and trying to avoid race. You ever see that movie Head of State?
Yes.
Where the candidate that was
Chris
running
Rock,
against
right?
Chris Rock, kept saying, you know, God bless America and no one else. So some folk in white America, I think, are feeling, you know, if I can vote for Obama and nothing else, then all of our racial sins will be forgiven. And I'm not saying we're not farther down the road to racial reconciliation. I'm saying it simply has not happened yet.
Right.
You know, so it will heat up. There are issues of race. There are issues of class. Like I said, all of these things are still burning. And I think it's a discussion that needs to be had in earnest, and we haven't had it
Now,
yet.
Conversely, if white America is thinking that, or at least some of them are voting and saying, if I vote for Barack, then, you know, I've proven that racism doesn't exist. What about black people that are voting for Barack?
Black America is still politically immature too. I mean, because you have a lot of black folk that are voting for Obama just because he's black. And they don't bother to examine his politics.
Right.
They don't really ask, how's public policy going to change? All of this talk about change, but nobody knows exactly what this change will look like. So I'm not saying this is just on white America. This is on black America too. We have these things running in both directions. And that's why I say the issues of race are not dead. And they're not going to die on their own. We got to talk about them. We got to talk about them honestly.
And here we are, interestingly enough, Hillary Clinton and the Clintons, who have been, you know, very vocal and supportive.
Stronger racial record than Obama.
Right. So what kind of situation does this put Hillary in as we get down to the end?
I think Hillary understands that it's politics.
Right.
And you know, I'm a political scientist by training. I mean, it's a contact sport. Everybody's going to throw everything they can at the wall and at the other person. And they're supposed to. Hillary's trying to win a race, you know, not win friends. And so that's understandable. And conversely, if Obama was trailing in the polls, trailing in the primaries, trailing in the delegates, he'd be throwing everything at the wall too. So it's not, you know, like he's functioning on this higher moral plane. He's simply in an advantageous position right now. That's American politics.
Now let's talk about the Republican Party and John McCain. Rightfully or wrongfully, really not seen as reaching out to the African American population. Your thoughts on that?
He's not. I mean, the Republican Party in general does not. George W. Bush actually did in a very strange way. He reached out to a strong segment of the African American community with a faith-based initiative, which I thought was somewhat underhanded, and it did not benefit black people, poor people, or people of color in the country, but at least he did that. McCain doesn't give me anyway, he doesn't seem to feel like he needs to do that. And the Republicans have run like that for a while. It's been successful for them, so why not? You know, I mean, keep in mind, African Americans are still only about 12% of the population in this country. You don't have a huge percentage of those people voting. Right. So he feels like it's an expendable population that he doesn't have to deal with.
Well, we're going to be talking about Obama mania and the racial issues that brings along with it a lot more. And on June 15th, when your book comes out, What's Wrong with Obama Mania? Black America, Black Leadership, and the Death of Political Imagination. I think we could talk about this for more than the time that we have already, obviously, and it's a conversation that we have to continue to have. So will you come back?
Call me anytime, man. I live right up the road.
Fantastic.
So
all right. U of L professor Ricky Jones, thanks for coming by today.
Thanks for inviting me.
Really appreciate it.
All right.
All right, we're going to talk TARC, Transit Authority, River City, and Jeff Seidenfaden, the pet guy, coming up. You're watching the CW Louisville live this morning, about 1:45 the hour, and thanks for being with us.